help me welcome Daniel from Ernst & Young.
Thank you.
Welcome. I'll hand over the clicker to you.
Great, thank you. Hi everyone, super excited to be here. First session after lunch, I hope you're awake. I know this is a kind of a tough spot to be in. Also, I'm super glad to hear about the future of retail session earlier, and I think you actually recognize a few things from this. So, setting the scene here, I'm associate partner at EY. I'm a consultant, and I actually have the fortune to work internally with our employee engagement and employee experience, and I work with clients with the same kind of questions. So, this presentation will be inwards EY, but it also will be outwards towards our clients. Okay? So those kind of two perspectives. And the topic is employee experience and how this employee experience can be improved through technology. And those improvements will actually require new demands on infrastructure and data. So I will try to tie that together into this topic today, networking. Cool? This one I talked about. Okay, hybrid work. We've all been thrown into this new hybrid reality, right? So today, a lot of people are working hybrid. Me for sure. I work hybrid. I'm at the office once or twice each week, and that's quite low. And this is very common for certain categories of employees, not for everyone. We still have categories of employees that can't be hybrid. And maybe they can't be hybrid even in the future. They need to go to the office to do work. Work is a place for them to be at. They need to actually be there. And we also have certain categories of employees who are transitioning into being hybrid. We heard that earlier in the presentation. We were talking about driving buses, driving lorries, driving heavy equipment in mines, for example. Those persons can now, in some examples, work hybrid. They can work from home, supervising that lorry or that machine remotely, and even get that scale benefit operating several vehicles, only helping the vehicles when it needs the attention from a human doing a decision. So I think this is super interesting, but we need to acknowledge that hybrid work, it's not for everyone, but it's a growing number of people who are in that hybrid setting. At EY, when we work with this, both internally and public customer facing, we have an approach that we call the bricks, bytes, and behaviors. And I'm a bytes guy. I love bytes. I love the technology behind it. I love the kind of possibilities that technology will bring. But technology won't solve a great employee experience. And for me, employee experience is super important. The retail case we heard about earlier. I mean, if we look at what really drives good business outcomes, it's a good customer experience, right? What drives a good customer experience? One of the key things there is a good employee experience. And a good employee experience is driven by a good workplace experience. So the workplace experience, employee experience, and then the customer experience drives by business outcomes. So it's super important to really acknowledge that the employee experience is important. And for us, we work with this in these three kind of perspectives, since we also need to change the behaviors and we need the physical space to actually support the employee experience that we want to achieve. In the beginning of COVID, we at EY launched a new study that we, at the time, actually called the Physical Return and Work Reimagined Study. Nowadays, we actually call it the Work Reimagined Study, because the physical return is most likely not going to happen. Some companies are trying to get everyone back to the office, and some are setting up policies that you should be here at certain days, and I think that's fine. But the full physical return will most likely not happen. And we started doing this survey in the midst of COVID, and it was a hectic time, but we decided we should do this. We should interview employers and interview employees and look at the gap, at perception of how we are offered hybrid work. So when we launched this study, we could see that 7% of the employees at that time were thinking about changing their place of work, finding a new workplace. And that's kind of a low number. But people were, we were in lockdowns. We didn't know if we had toilet paper. It was a strange time, right? So maybe people were more keen to actually making sure that they had a work. That was a very, very important topic. If we go on to this, people realized that this new hybrid world wasn't a bad thing. And for certain organizations, they were actually thriving in this new setting. They were growing their business, being more profitable. And at the employee level, you could see that 9 out of 10 employees really wanted to have the flexibility in when and where to work. At EY, for example, we have full flexibility in both the place and time when you should work. And I think that's super cool. What also happened is that we interviewed the employers to see how they perceive their ability to offer a good hybrid working model. And 74% of the employers think that they have this to offer to their employees. But talking about the gap again, we can see that only 48% of the employees perceive that their employers actually is offering this to them. My personal opinion is 48%, it's not that bad. It's kind of an okay number, but there is a gap, and we need to understand that gap is important. And why is it important? Well, because our employees are important to us. And what we can see is that now 43% of the employees think that they might leave their employer in the next 12 months. And if we're going to replace 43% of our employees in the next 12 months, that's quite a big task at hand. It's not an easy thing to do. Current topics in the workplace then, focusing on employee experience. Some people think that, of course, sustainability is a very big topic in the workplace. How can we be more sustainable as an organization? How can we lower our CO2 footprint? How can we optimize the office space? Super important topic also. But those are employer topics. Of course, as an employee, I can still be engaged and think I'm very proud of working in a sustainable corporation. Super important. But it's employer perspective. As an employee at the office, for me, it's super important to know if I'm a hybrid, I need to actually understand when will my network be at the office. Which day during the week should I go there? Because if I go to the office and no one is there, or we have 4 floors. I'm at the floor 11 and all the people in my network are floor 8. That would be hard for me to find them. So I come to the office, my network isn't there, my manager isn't there, I don't find anything that I want to work with, and that's tough. And maybe the office is not as good at home, and the connectivity might even be worse than home. So why did I come to the office? This is not good for an employee experience. And it's a very, very important topic to work with, making sure that we know when my network will be there, so I can actually plan my week going ahead. Do you recognize this? Anyone come to the office and think about, why am I here? Right? It's not a good thing. And what we can see now is that the hybrid world is here, and we can see that desk sharing is a thing. We at EY ourselves, we don't have home zones. We can sit anywhere. We have different zones where different kind of activities is going on, and we can see that with clients also. We have clients that don't have home zones. Some actually have home zones for different kind of service lines or whatever. But the desk sharing is a big thing, and we can see now that this is from a quote from the latest letter from Mark Zuckerberg to his employees at Meta, where he's telling them that the real estate costs are really high. We need to lower the real estate costs. And people who are working hybrid, they can't expect to have a private desk anymore. They need to think about that they actually need to share desks. And this isn't something that just works automatically. Of course, you can have an open workspace and just come to the office and sit down and work, but most likely you need some kind of tooling to help you decide these things. So what we have done at EY ourselves, we've built software for this, and this software actually will know your commute preferences. They will know which days you prefer to work at the office. It will look in your calendar. It will understand your network, who are the people you're collaborating with, and it will suggest things for you. So it will suggest that, hi Daniel, you should go to the office on Tuesday because your network is there. Hi Daniel, on Thursday you have a meeting at floor 10 in the beginning of the day. Should I book a seat close to that space? Yes, please do that. So we kind of help employees understand when they should go to the office, where to sit, to both socialize and be productive. So I think this is a really cool thing. And I will, of course, tell you later what kind of data it requires, because it's a lot of data. This is not a simple thing to solve to get this going. And the other part of this, the employee experience is super important, but then of course we have the real estate optimization part, where me as an end user can, the administrator can optimize the office space. But we're not alone in this. I mean, we have our partner Microsoft somewhere here. They were speaking earlier. And Microsoft is bringing the same kind of technology to the market in the near future. And since Microsoft is in the room, I want to say that the next picture I'm going to show is actually an early draft of their product. It's called Microsoft Places. It might change. So that said, this is Microsoft Places. And Microsoft Places is the same kind of thing. It will help me plan my week. So I can tell the software that I will be at the work at Tuesday and Wednesday. And then it can help my colleagues find me. And I can book my seat. And I can be visible in the workplace. And that's a good thing. And then, also, I have the possibility to actually plan social catch-ups. Right now, I mean, during lunchtime, my phone usually buzzes a lot because people are trying to reach me on Teams saying that should we go to lunch? But that is done in my organizational team, so it's a very narrow group of people who are planning lunch. It's not good for networking. This tool will actually help you plan those coffee runs or lunch runs broader. It's more inclusive, so everyone can join. And you can say, I'm joining you guys for lunch, see you at the elevators. I think this is great. To get all of this working, we need to know a lot of stuff. I mean, you need access to my calendar. You need to understand my commute preferences. There's a lot of data in this. So we need to actually, from a GDPR perspective, we need to ask the end users about permission to get this data. We need to ask them about their preferences. We need to ask them about their working hours. And we need a lot of sensors. In the office, we need sensors for presence, understanding, is there someone here? We need people counting, perhaps. I mean, in an office space, if I'm in a meeting room, I need to actually understand the utilization in that meeting room. If it's a meeting room for 12 people, and I booked it for 12 people, but only 4 will be there physically, I'm not using the office space. So that's people counting sensors. We need to get that data into the system. We need to understand, of course, the indoor positioning part of this, to plan how I could find my colleagues and optimize the workplace from that one, and also for wayfinding. And we need sensors under each desk. And we actually, at EY ourselves, we have this kind of occupancy sensors at all the desks. And also in the social areas. So if I'm sitting and having coffee, we actually know which furniture is more popular and what furniture isn't popular. And we're doing this in a data-driven approach. We actually do investigation to this at a given cadence, so we can refurnish the office depending on that data. Because it might not be the table itself that is unattractive and people don't want to sit with it. Maybe it's in the wrong location. So you can see that through the floors and actually plan the office in a different way. And if we have the occupancy sensors in all of these places, maybe we need some kind of desk signage also. Just helping our new hires understand that, okay, Daniel is sitting here. So I can check in using my employee badge. Beep, beep, check in. Okay, I'm in this place. I'm available. And my name is Daniel. Because me, personally, I have a hard time actually remember people's name if there's a lot of new faces. So this is a lot of data. And this data, to make all of this magic happen, I mean, some of it, like my preferences, is kind of static. Right? Maybe I don't change that even every week, maybe once a month or whatever, depending on if I should deliver people to the scout, my boys or daughter to the scouts or whatever. But a lot of the data, the sensor data and everything else, it's streaming data. It's data that needs to be here and now. And same with the occupancy data, it's streaming data. We need to get that data instantaneously to the database, and we need to deliver that data to the application that people have in their mobile phone, because that application will help us nudge the correct behavior if we look at planning that office space, when I should be in the office, where I should sit, and those kind of things. So that's everything for me. Please reach out if you want to talk about the topic. I'm on LinkedIn. Here's my email address, whatever.
Fantastic. Thank you, Daniel. Great, I can take this. I have many questions. I will leave them until after, because we will have a Q&A session now. And I will